Are you interested in possibilities beyond anything you've ever considered? Join me, John Ashford, alias Akintola, each week where I show up unapologetically me as a possibility seeker, an explorer of the universe, conversationalist, and a storyteller. Having worked with families, communities, and systems for over 30 years, I desire to explore with you topics beyond current realities and create something greater than the world as we know it today. Together, we can inspire, teach, and share with each other our real and raw ideas to change the world to the place we know it can be. Join me for some fun as we get real, funky, raw, vulnerable, outrageous, and inspired. Peace, John.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you all be right now on planet Earth. This is your brother again. It's been a long time. My name is John Ashford, being John Ashford Podcast. Haven't done this for a long time. My girl Maureen's been egging me on to do this. And so I was like, I've been in a different space. And today's podcast is going to be kind of interesting. It's my journey coming back from the dark side. And I always have stories to tell. I guess it's not appropriate to eat on this podcast, but it's my podcast. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about this because one of the things that happened with me is that in the last year, my diet has had to change because my body is morphing. And so I can't eat as much sugar. So I have to eat every 2 hours to offset this pre-diabetic stuff that I'm working on right now with my body. And I'll share that because that's part of my journey of the dark side. I say that because it's been a hell of a year. Just November will mark the year when I came to the realization. I know my mom is not with us embodied anymore. Pamela Marie Ashford has moved on to spirit world. Kind of interesting how we talk about, we always part of the spirit world, but she's not embodied anymore. And her crossing over left a pit in my stomach. A lot of things I picked up before my mom. Where do I start this, y'all? I used to be a CF for Access Consciousness. And I say this publicly because when people hear this, I love Access Consciousness. It gave me a lot of insight. But as I start to explore the dark side of things for me, I had to let go and be by myself. And I'm not trying to explain that to anybody. I'm explaining a little bit I think in this podcast. But there's times when you get in a dark space when you don't want to be here anymore. And I wouldn't do that. And sometimes I still have that. And I want to speak to that because what I realized, I've never been suicidal, never thought about putting a gun in my mouth. I like me too much like that. But I've gotten to points where I can understand why people don't want to be in existence anymore. I had a mom that I didn't understand for the longest. Last year, I had a mom that I was supposed to have an appointment with her son, and he OD'd on fentanyl. And I remember seeing her go through this grieving process. And it was like, I felt that emptiness. When my mom passed, I didn't realize that I wasn't dealing with shit before. So it got really, really dark. My dear brother, Melvin Hawkins, kept on asking me, am I all right? And I would tell him one time, and it was last year, 2023, we were at the Blues Festival, Jazz Festival in St. John's, Portland, Oregon. And he asked me, and he gave me a hug and pulled me tight and said, how are you doing? I said, no, how you really doing? And it hit me that I wasn't doing well. I was acting on this facade. I was staying busy. I was trying to facilitate groups. I was facilitating groups. But I wasn't dealing with being present. Everything that was important to me had distanced itself. My relationship with my daughters is not what I really want it to be. And at that time period, I was just like not understanding this. And I'm going to talk about some other shit that happens because whenever you talk about the dark side, you have to be willing to let in the spirit world, and show grace for yourself. I want to read some. I'm jumping over here because my ADHD takes over and I'm like all over the fucking place. I hope this makes some sense to people. But coming back from the dark side, it was kind of weird. When I start doing, I'm jumping. I know I'm not staying with one subject at a time, but I'll get to the stories. When I started 2 years ago. I started picking up, but my dear sister, Vanessa, got me interested in, she did a tarot reading, and I was like, man, I'm interested in doing that. And right after I broke my ankle, December of 2022, I took a class, access class on then X-Men. And right afterwards, for 2 months, I took a class learning tarot. And it actually allowed me to start jumping into some spaces that I always imagined. One of the things that I realized about myself in this process, I've always been fucking intuitive. I know shit because I know shit, and I know it and I act upon it. I don't like when I get a wild hair at my ass, I'm like, it's a wild hair at my ass. That either hurts or tickles or itches, and I need to do something about it. I don't know why that shows up in my world like that, but it does. And so tarot was one of those things I started to explore. And I'm sure some of you might see this on YouTube when Maureen puts this up on YouTube, but this card here is the devil card. And when I got into this class, I was just like, ooh, the devil card. And I started going back to all of my Christian raising and the devil card. And I realized this is a beastie card, and it has all the signs of the devil on there, right? But as I've started doing more research on it, the devil might not be who we think the devil is. Okay. But also this card represents a spot. I'm going to read this from this tarot book that I have, Tarot Cards for Beginners. Because I like this explanation of this card. And I'm reading this because when you go through a dark side or a dark experience and you feel like you don't want to be present anymore, at least for my brothers and sisters who don't want to be on a plane anymore because you've lost somebody, you just don't think there's another possibility, you just want to fucking say, I give the fuck up. I'm going to say to you, I get it. I'm not in your space. I get it, but it's death. I'm coming to learn, doing all my research and getting back to my meditation, is just the doorway to another existence. This is going to be like, some people are like, what about heaven? Heaven can be part of that for you if that's what you choose, but it's just a doorway to another existence. And I want to read this because my mind's going off to like, there's a space on this planet where you've already died. So live to your fullest right now. But be mindful and show grace with yourself when you're going to understand the question. Hey, in this book by Eva Gibson, she explains the devil card like this. I was just showing people the card if you guys weren't on screen, so sorry for those people who can't see my ass. Anyway, a man and a woman stand with the chains loosely hanging around their necks. The devil stands above them with a horned head and eagle's legs, holding a lit torch. The backdrop is black. This is a card of fear and ignorance. You are chained by some negative influence in your life. Perhaps you are aware of the damage of these self-imposed limitations, but like the couple on the card that can easily free themselves, you seem to be complacent in your comfort zone, the comfort of actually being fucking stuck. Stretch out a little and let those addictions, negative thinking, or temptations go. Once you overcome these, you will have access to more of a fulfilling life. I was stuck with it, and I'm gonna say this to you people. I'm gonna be really transparent. I like being transparent with shit. At times, I still feel stuck because what I realized that with the intuition that I have, I know stuff, and my body is going through transition, and the dark side, I'm allowing it to contribute to me. Early this year, my daughters and my son came by and they asked me to watch this Acolyte by Star Wars. And I watched the Acolyte with them when they were here, and I couldn't get into it. I was like, and some days passed, actually a month passed, and they asked me, did you finish watching it? So I went back and I started watching it. The story is about these two little girls that look black in Star Wars, and they were raised by this woman who's a witch, and their practice was not condoned by the Jedi. So the Jedi thought they were going to come over and actually control them and tell them how they had to have their practice. Does that sound familiar to anything else historically that's happened on planet Earth? Kind of interesting shit, huh? Well, anyway, I got into it and I watched it, and on my left arm, can't put my shirt up, I have a tattoo here of a Jedi, the new Jedis. And after I watched this, I was like, damn, I'm beginning to appreciate the dark side of the Jedi Force. And I realized that you have to have both to me, the dark side has something to contribute. If you're not willing to look at your dark side energy, then you can't really speak into the light. That's just my theory. But the whole aspect of it is there was a story told about how the dark side came about. And the issue with it is that it was only partially true because another group of people, the Jedis and the light, wanted to control how these other people were going to do their magic. But nobody's going to control or police the Jedis. And so that's when I came to realization that you have to come to the point of being. I have my own theory that we are all God energy. We're all particles playing God, and God is. And the dark side is a contribution to you. The devil card, when you look at the card, these people could actually bounce and leave any time that they choose to, but they don't. There's a chain around their neck that they can, it's loosely fitting, so they can just lift and walk away. You stay with stuff so that you can have a lesson from whatever you're focusing on right now. And what I've come to find out is that once you're willing to step through that dark side, and right now for me, I would say, example, the things going on in my body got me kind of worried. Am I dying? I'm 61 years old. Oh, am I sick? That's creating a space that's pulling that into my body. So what I've started to do, my antidote to this, in those days I get really fucking dark, let me tell you guys, I have a soundtrack that I created on, where it is. I'm going to pull this up for you guys because I'm just going to mention some of the songs on there. Hopefully I can go there without playing the fucking song. My library, sorry about this. I have a playlist. It's called The Happiest. And on my playlist, Hold On, Happy, What a Wonderful World, What a Wonderful World This Would Be by Sam Cooke, Don't Worry, Be Happy, Ass by Stevie Wonder, Sun is Shining. Then I have my Orisha music, Desponjane. I Say a Little Prayer, Walk On By, Beethoven 7, and Upside Down. I created a playlist that actually changed the vibrational tension in my space when I wake up, because at nighttime, I have a capacity of actually walking on the dead side. And this is another whole different story. I have to get back to that. But my whole peeps about it is that I asked the creator to allow me to see, before I transition, what is it, this dark side energy, so that how can that be a contribution to my abundant living? Now, a lot of it is actually leaving space to focus for self and come back to self. And what I realized, some of my brothers and sisters who get suicidal, they get so far into that space that they don't give themselves grace with what's going on. And we call it mental health. I'm not denying mental health. Mental health is out there, but there's also a spiritual aspect of this that's fucking with us. And it's not getting back to self. It's not leaving time for self. Like, everything's preoccupied. I'm amazed by the amount. My friend came by and she ran my bars today, and she's telling me about her daughter's boyfriend and how he plays video games and not eat healthy food. And I realized that that's a distraction. What did we do 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago before video games? There's still distractions. What do we do with political systems that we have going on right now in the United States, Canada, and above, where people think that this is the end? This is only the beginning. You think it's the end, as Bob Marley said, but it's just only the beginning. Because when you start tapping into that space and not let fear occupy that space, and you're present, and I'm going to close this next card, and then we'll continue this dialogue later, then it's not that bad. You see some light. When you let go and see, and the distractions are addictions of all sorts. We like to pick on the alcoholics and drug addicts and people on fentanyl, but there's other things. There's the social media, the phone. Can you put your phone down for a second? There's so many distractions. But what I want to go back to is what I started to realize is that I had to show myself grace. And some days, like, it took me forever to come back and do it. And this is my first podcast, probably in 6-8 months. It feels like it. It might be close to that, but I'm not beating myself up. It is what it is. I am who I am. And I'm actually walking through this movie. And those days that I don't want to be here, I also ask myself this question: is this mine that I don't want to be here, or is this somebody else's energy? Because we're so powerful that we actually dance with each other energetically. And we don't know that sometimes we leave ourselves in other people's spaces and we think that we don't want to be anymore. And you might not. But what I beckon you is that you ask more questions before you take that final step. If and it might be that time. And I'm not going to say people want me to say about, I don't think suicide is bad. I think that it's a choice. I think that what I do realize is that I don't think it creates what you want to create. I say that. But if you have to choose that, God forbid, at least give somebody an opportunity to know, to speak to you, to match energy, to offer you another possibility. I'm going to close on that. Actually, I don't want to close on that. I'm going to read this real quick because I had this from a class earlier. Fierce presence. A lot of this walking through the dark space is learning how to be more present with self. Okay, I'm just going to read a short paragraph of this and I'm going to let y'all go today. A fierce presence. And this is a card for those who can see me on YouTube. Fierce presence from my Oracle book called Lightworkers Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Within your soul is amplitude of strength and courage. Yet this does not mean that you must always approach your life path as a warrior heading into battle. Take a moment to consciously exhale. I don't know. You will gain enough energy through this release and perhaps even see things in a new and more optimistic light. Shifting into a more present state of being will help you see clearly. Be empowered to resolve any troubles and successfully lay foundations for a more beautiful future. Let your presence be fierce whilst allowing your heart to remain trusting, relaxed, and open. I'm in it there, y'all. Be present. That dark space is a huge contribution. My journey, I'm still going through this journey. I'll continue this dialogue later, but it does not have to be the end. And the devil is not what you think it is. It's a new possibility. You just have to decide that I'm done with this and I'm willing to move on. I'm doing it. I don't eat that much ice cream anymore, y'all. Okay, until next time, peace and blessings. Check me out on my website, www.beingjohnashford.com, my YouTube channel, Being John Ashford, and you know where I'm at, or Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. Peace. Have a wonderful day. Bye.